Ruslan.
What's good? My name is Adamant or Adam. I'm a rapper slash pop singer somewhere in the middle. And I'm a videographer, so I do that full time. But the thing I was curious about is you obviously don't want to just to post just for the sake of posting. I don't want to follow someone who puts up 1,000 photos a day or everything he posts is just, it has no meaning and no purpose behind it. It's just kind of a, hey, here's a random picture for no reason. But I want to post every day enough to stay fresh in people's mind. I obviously don't have a music video or some stellar piece of content every day, but I could post a photo. Is posting once a day, whether that's a photo or anything else, is that too much? And then also, what is your thoughts on posting content that has like a meaning? Like when I post about like me singing something or like an idea of the song or like, you know, that's a little bit more driven.
When I could have posted too much content, I listened to the wrong people and didn't post enough content. This is what I mean. Before the lockdowns, I had a really good run in 2019 where I had so many interviews jam-packed. I would get booked for shows, bring my mobile setup, pump out an interview, right? And so I got to a point where I was so ahead on interviews, I could have started dropping 3 or 4 interviews a day. I didn't because folks, well-meaning people were like, oh, that's too much content. You shouldn't drop 3 or 4 videos a day. And I was growing, but not fast enough. The moment I actually switched on YouTube to dropping 3, 4, sometimes 5 or 6 videos a day is when I started touching the algorithm and blowing up. And so I don't know at what point and how does that apply to you. Obviously, you shouldn't drop 3 or 4 songs a day, right? But if you took a demo you were working on and made 3 or 4 content pieces a day and chopped those up and put 2 or 3 TikTok videos, 2 or 3 IG reels, and a session of you working on the song live and then chopping that down into a smaller condensed version, right? I think that would be amazing. So most people who are asking the question is, what is too much content, aren't anywhere near producing too much content, right? Like they're nowhere near. So like how much could you even realistically produce to the point where it becomes overwhelming and you're like, oh my gosh. Now, too much content for you personally, maybe you burn yourself out, right? Maybe you just get exhausted doing the same thing. But I think if you're working on a song, you take that song, you're streaming the session live, then you take that and you chop it down. You get 6, 7, 8 pieces of content out of it spread across multiple platforms. I don't think you can go wrong going that direction, right? And so it's just in how quickly can you create it? This is what I mean.
Yeah.
At some point, when the content is good enough, it doesn't even make sense anymore. Like it doesn't make a difference because there's a degree of diminishing returns. You can make it too good and then you'll make less of it, right? So you make it good enough and you release as much of it as you can. That would be my advice and I think you're there, Adam. I don't think you can make a bad piece of content, in my opinion. Like you're past the point of making a whack song. You're past the point of making a whack video. Like I think if I'm you, I'm going all in and making as many videos as I possibly can. You see what I'm saying? And so like with my type of content, these videos, video switchers, cutting angles, this whole bit, right? I can make a bad video for me by saying too much or whatever, right? But I can't really make a bad video because people will look at the aesthetic, just the aesthetic alone. The fact that I'm on a 1.4 lens on this camera, the fact that there's a moving thing, and just the aesthetic alone, it looks good enough. It looks good enough, and therefore it looks professional, and therefore I can't make too much content. Like I really can't. Right now, YouTube may play with my algorithm and not push my videos up and not turn the bell notification on or whatever. That's not a problem. I'm not too worried about that. But if I'm you, I'm making as much content as you could possibly put out without sacrificing your mental health, because that's important too, right? So that would be my advice, man, is like, how can you make the most amount of content but make it as good as possible? And I think nowadays with working on demos, snippets, that kind of stuff, I think that is super dope. Meaning that like Nick D will throw up demos. If a demo pops off, boom, he'll put the song out earlier, right? So if there's a snippet, it pops off. He'll put the song out earlier. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he did that for Fine Apple, didn't he?
He did. He put up
Yeah.
Fine Apple. Fine Apple was like a tease thing. That record popped off. Boom. He took, he ended up putting it out earlier because it got momentum on TikTok, right? And so that would be my same thing to you, is like, bro, if you're working on a record and a record goes viral on TikTok and it's not coming out for a month, but you're just kind of testing the waters, you could put the record out in 2 days and come back around and keep pushing that thing,
Yeah. Hey, and then for like you were talking about the way that Curtis King does, the chopping down long form sessions to make multiple pieces of content. As an artist, I guess in my and I haven't like watched one. I've like jumped in and out for 5 minutes, but not actually like fully watched one. But like for a producer, you have, your screen, you're in one spot, you have a couple angles, like what you do, for example. And even when you live stream, you making music, you're sitting in one spot, you have the, so and I don't know if you've ever seen my setup. For like my setup, I have like a little booth that I go into. So like if I live stream something like that, what is, in your opinion, the way to make that good enough? Obviously we're not shooting, it's not gonna be perfect. It's not gonna be a music video, but like, how do you make that good enough to keep people's attention if they're gonna sit and watch, or to make a piece of content?
Are you talking about specifically a live stream of you working through a song? Is that what you're getting at?
Yeah.
So you make a live stream of you working on a song. If you can, I would upgrade some of the equipment, maybe add a couple different angles if you could afford to, because live streaming is different. Live streaming, you kind of want to set it and forget it. You don't want to be moving the equipment and changing stuff, and you know what I mean? Like, you really want to mount those cameras, leave them alone, get the lighting right, set that stuff up, forget it. There's no I'm going to set all this up and tear it all down. Like, that's not how it works. You're not going to create anything that way. In the same way, if your microphone and your stuff is set up and you got to randomly set it up from scratch, you're just not going to record as much music. So with live streaming, you got to be intentional about, I'm setting this up and forgetting it. When I start doing mobile stuff again, I got a separate video switcher, I'm gonna have separate 3 cameras, separate everything, separate stands, separate lights, separate everything, a separate backpack that's always set there and ready to go, because if I have to tear all this down, I'm not gonna be as inspired to create. So I think live streaming is the same. So how you could do it if you had that, even if you had 2 or 3 cameras, is you could have your computer as one, picture in picture. You could have a separate camera as your main camera, maybe another camera, and then live stream. Say it takes you 3 hours to write a song, do that entire song, and then go back and literally mark the parts where you nail your takes. I'm keeping this take, I'm keeping this part of the beat, I'm keeping this, and then go back and say, now I'm gonna trim the entire thing down to 10 minutes. I'm gonna do this just to show you guys, because I feel like I've gave this idea to multiple rappers and producers and no one's applied it yet. But I'm gonna do this exact process. I'm gonna work on a song live and then chop it all down and make it a 10-minute video, and people are gonna flip out and be like, "This is incredible, Ruslan!" And I think it'll be a whole new lane for musicians to leverage live streaming on YouTube. Mark my words.
Do you think live stream is the route, or do you think doing like actually filming it and then chopping it?
I think whatever you can make a lot of is the route, Adamant. Whatever you can make a lot of. If it's a song every week, if it's 5 TikTok videos a day, a live stream a day, a live stream every other day, a live stream that turns into 5 or 6 TikTok videos, whatever you can make the most amount of, that would be my suggestion, right? So I like live because I like the spontaneity of it. I like the watching the chat come in. I'm so accustomed to it, right? So I like it. I enjoy it. It's my favorite platform, right? I feel super weird talking into a phone or a camera and there not being feedback. So I prefer the live format, but that's me, right? I'm just saying it is an opportunity if you can learn how to finesse it. And if you work efficiently, meaning you could actually get a song done in an hour session, I think it could be super dope. So what I would do is I would probably do a song in an unlisted stream just for the Patreon, then trim that song down and make it its own video. That's probably how I would work through it, meaning that it would be a stream with just folks on Patreon and channel members. They would watch me create the whole song in 2 hours. Then I would go back in, use the YouTube editor, and chop that down into a 10-minute video where it's just literally beat, verse, you know what I'm saying? Nailed the verse, nailed the tweak it, song structure, boom, here's the finished song. But it would really be a 2-hour video consolidated. So there's just so many ways. I think you just got to experiment with this stuff and figure out, like, do you have an extra couple grand to build yourself a live streaming setup? And does that make sense for you to make that kind of investment right now? I think maybe, I don't know, like my trainer just built it, right? Certain people who have an ability to speak with an expertise, I think live streaming is extremely helpful because it eliminates the need to edit video. Everything is up on the cloud, and you literally go into the YouTube editor and just trim and snip and remove stuff and then consolidate those videos.
Kingstream Entertainment, Ruslan.
Joshua the King came down and bore it all. Yeah, conversations front of the fireplace. All of my mistakes, how do I erase? Wanna operate at a higher pace. Birth pains causing the body to dilate. On a first name basis with the worst pain facing. Moments in isolation. See, I was hoping I would do this to get more family time. A busy mind and worried heart, is this not where I reside? I subscribed that all that traveling wasn't doing well for my soul. Glad I never made it when my name went through the rumor mill. I suppose that the Lord knows I'd have failed. Instead I'm doing well at home, out my shell. Good book off the shelf, more dubs off the L's. I told Ray they ain't just gon' know us, they gon' know us well. Happy to have failed my way to success. With my family by my side, Lord knows what's next. Joshua the King came down and bore it all. I know a few things, never claimed to know it all. But I know what's off, never noticed y'all. Hit a protocol, need an overhaul. Need an overhaul, I need an overhaul. Need an overhaul, we need an overhaul. Joshua the King came down and bore it all. Conversations front of the fireplace. I know a few things, never claimed to know it all. Conversations front of the fireplace. Joshua the King came down and bore it all. Conversations front of the fireplace. I know a few things, never claimed to know it all. Conversations front of the fireplace. All that drama and hysteria should die down. If there's nothing nice to say, then baby, pipe down. Life is too short to try and pay the price now. I was walking on water and then I wiped out. So this is for the restoration of every family member that's estranged. I know you're facing the same asymptomatic patient, different virus. Hard to tell somebody they sick when they only deny it. And you confide in something personal.